for with APLD is actually a continuation of the trend, something like this, up into this $40 range, about a 35% increase. Now you might say, well, it's already near the all-time highs. It's pulled back $8 from $40. Why would this company continue in this uptrend? And what's the driving factor behind it? As an investor in this company, we've entered in over on Schwab and kind of tracking it here on Robinhood quite often, and we're up about 120% on the position. But I can tell you that even in this pullback here, I haven't sold any of my position on APLD because, frankly, the news here is pretty good. The reality is that in AI, there's a massive demand for the compute, and one of the main compute functions of AI is the data center space. And data centers are building not just the infrastructure for AI, but also mining of Bitcoin. And this company actually originated as a company that was mining Bitcoin, and then they've kind of pivoted while doing the Bitcoin mining into the AI data center space. And in that pivot, in this construction of these data centers, they focus on things like liquid cooling, the energy sources that are making sense for the company. So they go in cold places like North Dakota, and they also are highly scalable because they design their data centers to be more energy efficient than other types of data centers. So they build the data centers very close to things like renewable energy, wind and solar power, that allows the people or the companies that are buying these data centers and getting them built by this company to save on costs in the long term. And so as a result, they've constructed in the last 18 months, 480 megawatts. And then they're estimated to do about 1.4 gigawatts. It's a massive, it's really hard to visualize that. It's a massive amount of data center building. And so on the data center solution side, just from their news, we've seen them get a lot of momentum. They recently signed a deal with CoreWeave that was $7 billion, and then that got upgraded to $11 billion. And so you can kind of take a look at their recent deals they've signed. Again, this is CoreWeave, one of the top AI hyperscalers, and then you could look at their recent press releases where they've grown that relationship even more. And you could see here that when it comes to the $5 billion in contracted revenue here over an estimated 15-year lease, they're working with hyperscalers to build out these data centers for, or in the near term, for this next quarter and into 2026. And so every single AI company or every single tech company has wanted to invest more in the data center markets. And so Applied Digital, again, we started covering it probably around $3 a share, somewhere in here. And we've been following it, basically most of this year. And we've seen it just steadily increase and then pull back big time and start to recover about 10%. And so I think that this is just getting started. And there's a few reasons why. They came out with their earnings recently, but they hadn't really materialized all of the recent deals that they signed. And so while you did see them come out with net income negative about 18 million and the revenue at 64 million, it still looks risky on the income statement side, because it's like, okay, they got $10 billion deal here. They have a almost $15 billion in total pipeline right now. Wouldn't it make sense that they continue to grow? Yes, it would, but it just hasn't shown up on the balance sheet or the financials yet, which is why they could be seen as still overvalued. The current market cap's at 9.25 billion, but what they're doing with the balance sheet is they've grown it to 2.4 billion. So balance sheet is up quite a bit, about 155% on the assets, and their revenues increasing about 84% year over year. So with the increase in revenue, and you see their market cap still around 9 billion, if they've got about $15 billion in their pipeline, it could make sense they continue to grow. So let's take a look over here. I actually would like to search it up. APLD. Let's get an analysis going on the company. I would like to see some of the projections from Grok. And whenever I want to save time on looking at all the financials, looking at all the press releases, the verifiable sources, or looking at all the charts. Use our in-house designed software that gives you a full breakdown of the company and the future chart. So here's what we got projected here over the next day and projecting into the next month. Still looking a little bit negative there. According to Grok here, see how it looks. It's fairly bearish on this. It could be the financials impacting it. If we look at the financials, let's take a look at OpenAI, or let's take a look at, let's see, Grok here. Grok was much more bullish than OpenAI. So OpenAI was seeming to be fairly bearish for some reason. Whereas, and it's probably, we could kind of see the driving factors. We consider the SEC filings. Let's take a look at the top transactors on APLD and see what's going on with the top transactors. You got the institutional ownership is pretty high there, around 65%. And then let's see here, you got some increased buying activity from Vanguard. They added to their position. Nvidia has a position in this company, and Goldman Sachs is holding. I'm not surprised by Nvidia. Insiders, let's see. Let's take a look at the buys and the sells. Recent sells. We do see some sells recently. Some of the directors selling. CFO had sold. And what I'd like to do is actually, let's pull up the Grok analysis. Grok seems to be getting us a little bit more of a bullish sentiment, which I think is more accurate. It's funny, like Grok is my go-to lately, along with Claude and Gemini. OpenAI, surprisingly, has been so conservative that I found it to be less accurate. So according to the Grok analysis of all of the insider trading that's happening with APLD, and you would expect to pay attention here, because what you might see here is the insiders, you got 59 sells with 24 buys. So it's actually indicating that while insiders only make up about 1.7% of the ownership, you are seeing net selling, which suggests that insiders are reducing their exposure and potentially looking at a cautious approach, even the CEO selling some shares. But when we look at the institutions have been really increasing their positions. And you can see that in the Grok AI analysis of all of the institutional buying and selling right now, when we feed it the data that we give it the SEC filings, we give it the insider transactions here. And as you can see on our analysis here, it's got 57 buys and 39 sells, which is indicating that there's a level of confidence among institutional investors, including Nvidia, it's one of the investors, which also indicates some bullish momentum. So when we're looking at the analysis of the company, most of the projections were fairly bullish here over the next day or so and into the next 6 months and the next year, looking like a potential 18% gain there over the next year. I think that's even conservative, as I am a long-term holder and I see them pull back to this level. I think that it appears that there's less risk than there is reward here as they're continuing the uptrend. But as always, near-term horizons can be harder to predict. It's really important to have a plan together in the short term, and then in the long term, you would want to obviously have a buy and hold position. Maybe you're adding on your position and looking to continue to build a position in APLD. That's kind of been my approach. I haven't done too many short-term trades, maybe 1 or 2 on APLD, on APLX. Primarily, though, we've been just kind of buying, adding to our position on APLD. And hopefully that's helpful for you as this breakdown's basically concluded. I think that's going to be the main breakdown for APLD. And let me see what the chat's up to. How are you guys doing today? How is everyone? It is Wednesday. APLD. Let's see. We got Gary's here. Greg, what's going on, Greg? S&P's holding 804 shares of APLD at $8. Nice entry. When you came to know Nvidia had invested in it more than a year ago, um, and you haven't not sold for a long time. Very nice. What are my thoughts on Michael Berry shorting? I think that AI is there is some interesting things that have come out recently. The consensus is like, let's see what it is like. What are people calling it? The AI bubble, is that what people are calling it? Companies all funding each other. There's some sort of bubble here, and you guys might see it. It looks like this, okay? How many of you guys have seen this bubble? Can I like open this up and make it bigger maybe? Not really. Yeah, I mean this is basically it, okay? So they say that this is the AI bubble. How many of you guys have seen this, right? It's pretty like popular. People are basically stating that this thing right here is showing that there's like this cyclical, or it's a circular thing of all the companies basically funding each other, and it could end very badly. How many of you guys have seen that? It's like pretty common. Everybody's kind of talking about it with the AI quote unquote bubble. Okay. Um, the issue with this is that they are not considering um, that this is not a bubble, that this is just a transactional chart. That's basically all it is. And I have a very clean understanding of this because literally I've built charts that look just like this. If I show you Mercatus, this machine that I've been using, literally I have a chart that looks something like that. Have you guys seen this? You can like click on here and you can see the different companies. How many of you guys have seen it? You can search the different companies from here. You can click on AI and you can see how different companies are connected. How many of you guys have seen this? So like this is pretty interesting, right? Well, like Big Bear AI and Palantir, they provide services to each other. They're partnered. If they're connected, does that mean it's a bubble? No. It means they're providing services to each other. And we're actually adding a really cool feature where you're going to be able to see what services they provide to each other. That's going to be super epic for this tool. Because I spend so much time like finding the connections, and it'll be great to have AI find those connections and then demonstrate how they're connected. Um, and so like literally Palantir and Big Bear is like that. So when we're looking at this Google search, people are looking at this bubble of AI. You see Nvidia is paying OpenAI to invest in data centers, and then OpenAI is paying Nvidia, okay, to let's say buy GPUs, and then AMD is paying OpenAI to have a contract or something or deploy, and AMD or OpenAI is paying AMD. Okay, this is nothing more than simply a transactional chart. That's all it is. It's not a bubble. It's not a fraud. Everybody seems to be looking at it that way. But if you really think about what it is and how the market works, it's simply a market value. So I'm not really sure if that's how you guys feel about it. Whether or not you feel like it's like a big fraud or whatever, or an AI bubble, or you think it's totally normal, all power to you. The way that I see it is that it's basically just a transactional chart, and when you have partnerships, each partner brings a certain amount of value to the partnership. So that's kind of just it for that. And then when it comes to what that means, I think it's a really good indicator, because if you looked at a chart like this back when, let's say, when big tech started relying on Nvidia for the first time, you actually didn't have Nvidia in the middle of it all. You had like Apple and Tesla and Microsoft starting to, use Nvidia, and Nvidia was the smallest, and then Nvidia became the biggest. But at one point, Nvidia was like the smaller company that the companies relied on. And if you would have identified Nvidia during that time, then you would have made a ton of money. And so, that's like literally how I was able to make a really good return during 2020 with Nvidia stock. I just literally just searched who provides the microchips for Tesla, and it said Nvidia, and I was like, oh, that seems like the right play. And you could see that that is kind of what's happening in the market. It's just simply value, and you want to identify the small companies early so you can identify. Now, this is what we're looking at with data centers. Is you look at APLD. I think APLD, if you see Nvidia investing in them, and they're building data centers for NVIDIA and for CoreWeave. Now you have a transaction that is, hey, these companies are kind of going to be relying on APLD. So Supermicro Computer, NVIDIA, Dell Technologies, Intel, trusting APLD to build the data centers. Data centers are a big deal. You're going to see more of them in the next year. And that's why we kind of follow them right now. And so that's the main reason why we are looking at them. And the second one that we want to go over today is going to be called BITF. All right, BITF. So again, that's the breakdown on APLD. And let's see, Gary, what's going on? Gary, BMC, what's going on? How are you doing today? Biggie, how are you doing? Shaw says, I have such a bad average on Redwire. Not sure if I will come break even. Probably just need to adjust your time horizon. Shaw's probably just need to adjust your time horizon. Yeah, because yeah. If you're down on it, it's probably a time horizon thing or a plan thing. Think of your plan. Will, have you done any deep dives into Lumen stock infrastructure being repurposed for AI? Definitely, again, been getting a lot of messages on that stock. I have it written down here. Appreciate that. I haven't gone deep into it, but I am curious about it. Let me search it up real quick. Lumen. Mark, what's going on, Mark? Annette, hey Annette, how are you doing? Jzev, Vesp, what's going on? Marty, shouldn't data centers as a whole bring more money than Nvidia? Kinda. The data centers still need to rely on underlying tech, which will be AMD and Nvidia and Intel and even Apple creating some of their own setup. But yes, in theory, yes. Vespucci says, "What's the price on Redwire? Shall we buy more?" Personally, I didn't buy more, but I like the pullback on Redwire. They actually had pretty good earnings despite pulling back. I was just talking with Gene Inger, one of the former investor personalities on CNBC. I think he's actually one of the founders of CNBC. We were talking just on the phone earlier today, and he was telling me how that was disappointing. But he and I were talking like we think Redwire is going to bounce back very quickly. AG, hey Will, do you think solar company or what do you think of solar companies? I don't know. I don't know. I used to work in solar a long time ago, and I had a really good understanding. And they went for a massive run back in 2020, but solar saw a massive deflationary period and kind of got hit hard. Vespucci says, "How is Buenos Aires?" Buenos Aires is great. Super enjoying. We did a video earlier today doing Monte and with my wife and getting to see her family. Airbnb has been great. We got Jim here, and then we got another month here, and we're moving. We're going to go into another Airbnb that's in Puerto Madero, which is a really beautiful place. It's right on the pier. Actually, I'm excited because I can see all of the ships coming in and out while I'm working from like view, and that's going to be really great while we're working on our application and working on YouTube. We've been scaling a lot of our operations recently, so that's been really cool. I don't know if you guys know, but our new AI powered company, we've been getting like more users every single week than the previous week. Um, so things have been going very well there, and it's we're seeing like daily logins go crazy. Everybody's logging into this AI software that I was just showing you guys a second ago here, for like visualizing and seeing, you know, projections from different AI companies. We're bringing a lot of the Wall Street data straight to you, but then plugging them into the AI models for you. And anyway, the daily logins have been like really amazing. People are using it each day. We've been adding a ton of features. I mean, I was literally just working on the mobile app just a moment ago. We got the watch list really dialed in recently. That's been really nice. So, you know, things are going good here in Buenos Aires. We'll be here for another month. Yeah, Stefan. What's going on, Stefan? Good to see you. Oh, you just got back to Atlanta. Nice. I think we stopped in Atlanta when we were flying here. Nice airport. Natural gas will outperform nuclear, Marty says. I think long term, no. But in the shorter term, like next 6 months to 12 months, yes, I do think so. But no, I think long term you're going to see natural gas do fine. It's going to do better than hydrogen, I think. And then but nuclear, yeah, nuclear I think is going to do much better than almost every energy sector over the next 5 to 10 years. That's my thought. Um, Gbrig says, or Gbriggle Miss Savisha says, "Hello, Will. What's going on? Go to Ushuaia. Got it. Sounds cool. I've never been there, but that sounds cool." So, what we were gonna add was this stock Lumen. Let me take a look at it. Is this one I've actually never looked at before? We'll get an analysis running on Lumen here. And then let's take a look at the stock here. $10.86. They're American telecommunications company headquartered in Monroe, Louisiana. Security, cloud, voice, and other managed communications. They got services through fiber optic and copper networks for data centers and cloud computing services. That's great. Lumen Technologies is an American telecommunications company. All right. So they've been declining on their revenues year over year. So while they're in the right market, you could kind of see their revenue actually dropping each year. See that? Now, they went from $20 billion in revenue in 2020 all the way down to $13 billion in 2024 and on track to do just around $12 billion in 2025. So the revenue is kind of declining and their net income is actually down pretty far. So while they're in the right market of data centers, they don't look so hot on the income statement. And then to be quite transparent, if I was looking at this company without looking at their website, I'm sure it looks probably pretty nice. We could take a look for a second. Let's see how it looks. Nothing wrong with a nice website, but okay. So they're working data center solutions, building the backbone for AI. I like it. It seems fairly promising how they're in that industry. But to be real with you, if you look at their financials, they've been declining on their revenue and they have more liabilities than assets. They got 35.4 billion in liabilities and 34 billion in assets. So they got more liabilities than assets. So personally, I wouldn't touch it. I don't touch any companies that have more liabilities than assets. It's a basic rule of business. If you want people to invest in you, don't have debt obligations, especially debt obligations that are higher than your total cash. Because at any point, if those debt obligations are required to pay, or that you have an obligation to pay them, you basically go bankrupt. And so that it's just it becomes very risky. And so for that reason, I wouldn't cover them anymore until maybe they come out with some better earnings here that can clean up the balance sheet. I know it's a great market, data center market, but personally, just wouldn't want to cover them. Yeah. And okay, user says leadership has always been questionable at that company. I'm not really sure about the leadership, but just given the financial management, it's actually fairly poor, the financial management. Awesome. Yeah. So, what's the next one? Oh, yeah, BITF. So, BITF has kind of had this surge from $1 a share back in August up to $6 by October, and then sold all the way back down here to start November to around $3.50, and it's holding about $4 a share. We actually have some longer term plays on BITF, and we just entered them. And we traded BITF in late October and had a really profitable trade with them from, I think it was about $4 a share up to $5 a share back here. And so it was a really good trade earlier this last month. But now we see them pull back down here. I think overall, this company is looking very good. Couple things to note about their direction. If they're going to continue in the direction they are, just from a technical standpoint, you can see this previous resistance around 350. They kind of bounced there. We could draw the line, but you can kind of see. And then they'd be looking to continue something like this, a 30 to 50% potential increase up into that $6 range. So the upside has been there, I think. And that's kind of not considering where they've had momentum. Where I think they have momentum is that they've shifted from primarily the Bitcoin mining to the energy and the data center portfolio for companies. So they got a North America and a South America data center portfolio. They got USA here. You can see Panther Creek, big data center setup. They have a data center in Scrubgrass. They got a data center in Washington, in Sharon, and Bunker, and Ligger, and Garlock, and Cowansville, all these different places. And so, you know, it's really pretty full as a portfolio for data centers. And when we're looking at the market cap of them, I think that the struggle is a lot of people want the best kind of market cap to, you know, revenues, and there's some other data center companies that might be even more favorable. One of the ones I've been hearing a lot is WULF, Wolf, where they just got an investment from Google. But what we saw with BITF is this surge in revenue. They went from like 40 million in 2024 to 77 million. So the revenue's up almost 87% year over year. And their balance sheet looks healthy with 827 million in assets. And do you see how this looks different? When we were just looking at Lumen, did you guys see it's kind of like, see this decline in revenues, decline, how it's going down each quarter, and it's going down, and liabilities, this orange, is actually like all the way above the assets. You guys see that? So when we look from that stock over to BITF, look at their balance sheet. They got way more blue than orange. So their assets are at almost $1 billion, while their liabilities are down here about 165. And then you see a trend of an increasing revenue over on the income statement. And so that just indicates they're seeing growth. I like them at a $4 stock, $3 billion market cap. I think they're going to be a nice play as a data center company. And so personally, given this, if you're okay with the risk, you're looking at higher risk on the short term. The market's been volatile, there's no doubt about it. But the data center plays are the infrastructure plays, and the longer term swing that I would anticipate and expect here on BITF would be up into this $6 range. Now, of course, you could see some near term volatility and other things get in the way of that. That's kind of what I would look at for BITF. What else do we got going on here? So BITF is a data center company with pretty good financials, pretty good portfolio of data centers, and it seems like they're focused on the energy in a sustainable way too, based on what I could tell, which is going to be really important. It looks like they got hydro, electric. You're going to need efficient energy in the data center setup. Otherwise, AI companies aren't going to want to spend money to work with you because they're going to see the efficiency of the energy and they're going to say, no, let's just go build our own. And so seeing that they have a focus on the energy generation, I think is quite good. And so for that reason, I like the data center play there. Very good. Okay, what else do we got going on? Awesome, guys. Appreciate you. Been some really awesome things happening today. We had a focus on D-Wave's earnings coming up tomorrow. IonQ came in with some earnings today. That was volatile. And over in the markets today, we saw some nice recoveries in the AI market. Black Sky secured a new deal today. I think over in there was a new deal released. Someone, I think it was Matt Evans, was saying in our chat this morning in our live session that there was a big deal. Oh, Iren was another data center company. They secured a $9.7 billion contract with Microsoft recently. And so Iren is going to be the other data center company. They just really came in with another big contract. And so we're looking for a 24% increase for them up into that $77 range. They did make that move, and they're now up to that $76 range. And kind of in the same uptrend, it's the same deal with these other companies, but they're still at the support. And so that's why I'm more bullish again on kind of like the APLD play down to this support, the BITF play down to this support, a little more volatile, but you're seeing some opportunities in the markets. Iren, showing its colors and really surging after that big investment and that $9.6 billion deal. And shout out to all of our community members inside of StockMate. I'm not kidding when I say literally the best insights that we get come oftentimes from the members in StockMate. And so if you're looking for the targets, if you're looking for the daily live trading sessions, it's the second link in the description below for StockMate. And you actually get a free t-shirt as well. I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. And all you have to do to join us at Market Open for tomorrow morning is click the second link below. It will take you to a page. You can see the outline for StockMate. We got a sale there for the data center boom. And then you can log in and get the link for our live session, the private link in your email tomorrow morning, or go to the events section here and you can see it as well inside of StockMate. You can go and find it. But there's great learning. There's some books in there as well. If you want to learn emotional intelligence and talk with other investors, we got about 28 millionaires in StockMate, and also some beginners as well. But also you can send me a message if you would like to, anytime you got questions. Cray Red says APLD all the way. I love that. Marty says, how do I get to StockMates if I get in the daily live, but I don't know how to do some sort of the other stuff that you show on here sometimes? Yeah, I mean, the best way to do it, you can send me an email if you're still having trouble, but best way is to look for the welcome email that you got when you first signed up. The welcome email will get you log in there, Marty. You could use it on your phone or on your computer, whatever works best for you. Tudo says, seems like data center companies are the best investment right now, because if AI doesn't pan out like people expect, there's always need for data centers, no? As of right now, there are. If there was a massive quantum breakthrough and then somehow they became supreme to GPUs and didn't need GPUs to function in tandem, which as of right now, they definitely do need GPUs, then maybe that need for the compute of data centers wouldn't be as necessary. But that's very far out. And as of right now, yeah, even if AI doesn't work out, which I 100% believe it will, it's already proven a lot of value to the market, then you still have things like, yeah, servers, you got Bitcoin as well and cryptocurrency. there as well. So that's how it goes. So again, guys, I would friendly reminder, I would encourage if you want to grab that free t-shirt and join us in our daily live sessions, second link below. Appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Got to go over some top data center companies today. And as always, if you got other thoughts, leave them in the comments. I always read them. Justin says, I almost bought Iran today. Yeah, they had a big day. Justin, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Savisha. Thanks for Marty. Appreciate you. Zev, always good to see you. Annette, what's going on? Thank you, Mark. Shaz, appreciate you guys. Greg, Gary, appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.